Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So this is Mental Health Talk. Yours truly, I am Christina McIntyre. I am still coming live from my apartment, trying to figure out a good time to come on. But I just wanted to stay relevant and give y'all the information, some information that could be helpful in your journey towards self-discovery and your journey towards combating with mental illness on a daily basis. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page, BYC Become Your C. I have all my podcasts on there, so it might be something that you are thinking about, and I probably talked about it, so just go on there and subscribe, stay up to date. Follow me on Instagram at Become Your C. Also on TikTok at Become Your C, Facebook BYC Become Your C. My website is kind of iffy right now, but it will be back up and running soon. I'm hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, but you can go visit www.becomeyourc.com, where I talk about journey towards self-discovery, including our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of ourselves. I believe all four of those aspects tie in together, and when one is out of balance, it affects the other ones as well. I use holistic approach to dealing with mental health using the chakra systems. And chakras are energies that's in our body. And when they are out of alignment, they wreak havoc on our body. They cause physical symptoms. Let's say you having heart issues, right? Heart palpitations and panic and anxiety is because your heart chakra is not in balance. So we must balance them. Just like if you're having a lot of pelvic pain, it's because your root chakra is not in balance. And so we must do things to balance them. So if you're interested in talking about a holistic approach to mental health, or just talking in general to help you get started on your spiritual journey, you can always message me at Will. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Today's topic is going to be about how do we see ourselves in regards to, dealing with our mental health issues. Again, 1 in 5 people suffer from mental illness each year. So it's a really prevalent disorder. It's still some stigma on it. It's getting better, but having mental illness is a illness that people can't see, and a lot of times people don't understand, so they put labels and they judge. And this is one thing we don't want to do. We shouldn't judge other people because we don't know what they're going through, and sometimes you don't know what's going to push someone over the edge. So be kind, be understanding, and try to educate yourself more on this illness as well. If at any time you're ever feeling suicidal, you need someone to talk to, reach out. They have plenty of Facebook groups. That's where I started. Also, therapy is an option, religion is an option, medication is an option, a holistic approach is an option. But also, you can call the suicide hotline at 1-800-273-8255 or visit them on suicidepreventionlifeline.org. I want you here, and you need to be here. We all have purpose. As long as we keep getting up each day and breathing, we have to see our purpose through, right? And I know sometimes struggling with mental health issues, that some days you don't even want to get out of bed. Some days you just want to feel like you're going to throw in the towel. I know, I've been there. I'm going through the process now, but it can get better each day. You just have to know that you are worth it and you deserve to be here, and you're okay just how you are. And I want you to be able to find some peace within yourself so that you can fulfill what is meant for you to fulfill in this lifetime. So today's topic is, how do we see ourselves? Self-esteem, self-image, and self-confidence. I'm going to throw out some definitions. They correlate with each other, so it kind of makes sense. So self-esteem is confidence in one's own worth. Self-image is the idea one has of one's abilities, appearance, and personality. And self-confidence, a feeling of trust in one's abilities, qualities, and judgment. So how how we see ourselves affect us. If we don't have positive feelings about who we are, it does affect your confidence, it affects your self-worth, it affects your self-image, right? When you are not confident in yourself, sometimes you allow your appearance to go, right? Especially if you're suffering from depression. Some depressed people may not shower, may not worry about how they look. They may stay in the bed. And that also affects your confidence and your esteem, right? You don't believe that you can do anything. You're not worthy, or you always seem like a failure. So how you see yourself, and I believe that it stems from childhood. That's my opinion, because a lot of things are built in our childhood, and the love and the affirmations and the safety is built in childhood. And I feel that when we don't get it in childhood, it affects us as adults, right? Let's say you never were told you were loved, you never were given hugs, you never were supported. It affects you, right? You feel like, okay, well, I'm not lovable. And so those thoughts stay in your head as you grow older. Or if every time you do something, your parents came down on you, like it's not good enough. So that's going to affect you as you get older. Now, in the back of your head, you're going to feel like, okay, no matter what I try, I'm not good enough. So it's important, if you have children, to make sure you speak life into them. I know sometimes I fail as a mom. I'm trying to work on myself so that my son don't carry those burdens of his ancestors, right? I believe we all carry burdens of our ancestors, and it affects us to this day. And somebody has to break the cycle so that we can heal and become who we need to be. So does how we see ourselves a reflection of how others see us? And this like I just talked briefly about the childhood, right? If our parents didn't show us like love or affection, or told us that we were beautiful or handsome, or that we're good to go and stuff like that, it affects us as we get older, because we feel like we never had love. So how can we love ourselves, right? Maybe we're not worthy of love. Or if we weren't shown affection, so how can we show affection to others? How can we expect it from others? And if you felt like every time you try, you were a failure, you're going to stop trying. So you give up on yourself. Or when you attempt something, you never finish it. Again, this is a reflection of childhood, but also how we see ourselves can be of how others see us as well. I was taught when I was younger to people please, that it was important to make sure your appearance was intact, and you spoke a certain way. That way people would accept you more. So we go through life and we feel like we have to fit in someone else's shoes. So the reality is created for us, right? And so what happens is we take on this persona of being someone else, because that's how people want to see us. Like, people a lot of times don't want to accept us for who we are, and so we try to fit in those spaces, right? We become someone else just to appease other people. So we don't make decisions for ourselves, or we lack the ability to say no when we don't feel comfortable. We're put in positions where we're just going along with the flow because it feels safe. And it's important to realize that when you people please, it does more damage to you. Like, I've been doing that most of my life because that's how I was taught. And for me, I don't like conflict or confrontation. And so if you are one of those people that like, let me just do this to make them satisfied, and you put yourself on the back burner, but what happens is it creates a cycle of always people pleasing, and so you're never satisfied because you're so used to making sure everyone is okay or everyone is happy. But what I'm learning is that people put onto you what they lack in themselves. And so sometimes people may see in you what they lack in themselves, and they're projecting their insecurities on you. And it takes a strong person to deflect that. But when you are so used to being brought up in a situation where you have to people please, you want people to accept you. So you got to do things that caters to society and to the people. Yourself gets put on the back burner, and then you slowly forget who you are. And then in time, what happens is who you are is still underneath that, but it got pushed back. And so after time, it's going to start coming back up. You're going to start to rebel, and sometimes this can come out of anger, and it comes out in rage. It can come out in destructive behavior and addictions because you were never able to be yourself. And trying to fit a role in which is not yours is going to cause a lot of chaos internally because you're not being yourself, and you're living in a world where you're not allowed to be yourself. And that's all you want to be. That's all we want to do, is we want to exist and have people be okay with who we are. But unfortunately, people are not that kind. A lot of people judge us by how we look and how we speak, how we live our lives. And it's sad because what happens is the person that's always people pleasing never get to truly enjoy being who they are. And that's why it's important to learn who you are. And this is a battle because we want to fit in. We don't want to feel isolated. We don't want to feel alone. And in reality, you are alone when you people please, because people aren't accepting you for who you are. They're accepting the version of you that you created in order for them to accept you, if that makes any sense. So on this journey, it's important to discover who you are, because we are here for a limited amount of time. And sometimes this requires elimination of people, elimination of an environment, elimination of negative thoughts. I think a lot of times we want to people please because people already had this idea of us and they want to keep us in this box. And so we feel like if we don't do what they want us to do, then we fail as an individual. Or if we don't do what it is that they want us to do, then they're going to be upset with us. And so in order to keep hold of this person, we will do things to make them happy. But on the inside, it goes against of how we are. And what I'm learning now on this journey is that the right people will never be satisfied with who you are. I mean, hold on. The wrong people will never be satisfied with who you are. It's like taking and never refilling. So all they doing is depleting your energy to fulfill something in them. And so what happens is when you feed the negativity, it builds up and they're going to want more. And at the end of the day, you'll feel withdrawn. You'll feel drained out. You wonder why you can't sleep, or you wonder why you go in places and you feel like you don't fit in because you're not supposed to be there. I think a lot of times we search for closeness, right? Like, I like to be around people. And so we may do things to just fit in, but at the end of the day, we're crying on the inside because we know that's not what we want. So it's important to know that You are enough how you are. And that I believe that the right people will be sent in your life that will accept you truly for who you are and not who they want you to be. Everybody, or some people, create this ideal image of who you should be. And when they're not getting that, they get upset at you. But in reality, they're upset with themselves because they try to transform someone that doesn't exist, but it exists in their mind. And so if it exists in their mind, it must come to reality. And all it does is cause more chaos, especially if you're in relationships. It messes up relationships because we perceive people to be this one way, and when they don't turn out to be this way, we get upset with that person, but we did it to ourselves. How do we prove of how we see ourselves? This takes a lot of work. Like, this journey towards self-discovery is not an easy journey. It's very hard work. It's anything that invokes change requires consistency, right? If you go to therapy, if you use the religion option, even medication, holistic approach, it requires consistency. And it's hard because on this journey, the way that I use it is that you're going to go through life and you're going to come to places in your life, right? In January, I went 3 weeks I went back into a bad depression. A lot of things was happening. So it took me some time to bring myself out of that. Situations happened where it allowed me to open up my mind and think a little more clearer. And this is what this journey is going to do for you. You're going to be put in positions where you have no choice but to start thinking for yourself and start living for yourself. Because you're going to cry. You're going to drown in your own sorrow. You're going to drown in your own tears. And you're going to feel like there's nothing left inside of you. And you're just going to go through life like that. And this is where the addictive behaviors come. This is where self-harm comes. This is where self-destruction comes, because you're not living your truth. You're not living who you are. So for you, you have to decide when you had enough. When did you have enough allowing someone else to manipulate you into thinking that you weren't good enough or you weren't valuable enough, right? And sometimes the people we allow in our life triggers us because it's a lesson. It's a lesson. Sometimes people get sent in our life for a lesson to trigger us to fix what needs to be healed. And it's not always easy. Like, when we dealing with trauma, it comes out in a lot of different ways. Anger, isolation, rage. You may overeat. You may do things that cause harm, not just, physical harm, but internal harm. You may lash out. So it's important to meditate and reflect on this journey, because it's going to bring up a lot of things that you need to deal with. And when you don't deal with things, they're going to keep cycling. So you have to stop and decide, like, hey, I need to fix this. How do I go about fixing this? And what you have to change in your life in order to make the best reality for you. Because we're only here for a limited time, so we want to create the reality that's best for us, that will best serve us. And the only way to do that is to figure out who we are. And in order to do that, we got to heal those traumas. And we have to stop people pleasing and stop allowing other people's opinions of us and thoughts of us and the reality they created. We have to stop living in their reality and start living in our reality. And sometimes this will make you lose people, family, friends, relationships. And it's okay, because sometimes what we lose, there's more to gain. And I think we're just afraid to see what's on the other side of that. But you have to be true to yourself. You got to figure out who you are so you can enjoy who you are, because we're only here again for a limited amount of time, and you don't want to waste it living in someone else's reality, because time is short. We never going to get it back. Today, once today pass, we'll never see today again. So you got to live each day in a reality in which you choose to live. Just to start by just letting go of some stuff and saying no and saying yes to yourself. Building up confidence and image and self-esteem, it takes consistency. I'm still not all the way there. I lack sometimes in myself. And so what I've been starting to do is ask myself questions why I'm feeling this way and what can I do to change it. And like, if I'm around people, why do I feel this way? Because for me, I can feel people's energies and I know whether people have good intentions or not. And so it's important to ask yourself those questions too. You know when you walk in a room and your energy doesn't feel right, that there's something going on. Sometimes we have to remove ourselves from situations that's affecting us. For me, everything is spiritual. And so it's important that you surround yourself with grounded, positive energy to, again, help yourself as well. And also, the energy that you have, you want to make sure that it's grounded and positive. That way, when these things come attack you, that you know how to block it, right? Building up confidence and self-esteem requires you to fake it till you make it sometimes, right? Taking a look in the mirror and telling yourself that you're worth it and valuable and beautiful, even when you don't feel like it. Because over time, what happens is your cells respond to what you speak to it. And if you keep feeding your cells the positivity, eventually it'll listen to it. But again, this is a journey, and every day doesn't feel the same. Some days I feel very confident, and some days I don't. And so for me, during those not so confident days, I try to take my mind somewhere else so that I don't beat up myself for things that I can't control. I think society has created these images. I think society created these lifestyles. I think society makes us feel like we have to fit into what they want to be accepted. And a lot of times it goes against who we are, and we feel like if we don't fit in somewhere, then we're not wanted. And then that one negative thought starts creating more negative thoughts. And what happens is we feel less than, and then now all our mental illness will kick in, right? The depression, the panic, the anxiety, the bipolar episodes, the schizophrenic episodes, the OCD will kick in because of how society wants us to be or how people want us to be. We don't have to fit in someone's box in order to be loved or be accepted. And this starts from like self-love. And it's hard to have self-love if you never were taught love or you never received love that you needed. And now you're going through this journey in life trying to figure out how to do that for yourself. Again, this takes consistency. This means every day you have to do something to get yourself back on track. You got to do things that make you happy, even if it don't make everyone else happy. But if you're satisfied, at the end of the day, that's all that matters, because we only can live a life for ourselves. And when we try to live life for other people, we lose sight of who we are. We lose value in ourselves because we're filling a purpose that's not our own. So we have to walk in our own shoes. And it's going to take you to speak life into yourself. Start with positive affirmations, right? Mantras, whatever you got to do to get yourself together. It'll take deconstruction. You have to really rebuild who you are. I think a lot of times we lose who we are because we're trying to fit into a world that don't accept us for who we are. I've always felt like this. And it's definitely a journey towards self-discovery. And that's why I created my company, is to help people on their journey, because it's hard to live in a world that don't accept you for who you are and your beliefs and stuff like that. And my uncle always said, sometimes you gotta agree to disagree, but people don't like to accept people that are different. They're weird, they're strange. Oh, why are you like that? You should be more. So all the labels, all the criticisms, we have to take it. And if people are speaking that way to us, they shouldn't be in our life anyway. You only want people around you that's going to be supportive and loving and caring and kind. And you got to make sure that you're showing that same energy as well. What you want, you have to become. So if you want people to love on you and be kind to you, you have to become that yourself. And you got to stop beating yourself up. If you already been this type of person where you people please and living in a reality that's not yours, it's not too late to make a change. It's not too late to become who you need to be. You just have to make a decision of when you're going to stop letting other people's opinions and thoughts and how they see the world affect you. Because we all can't fit in boxes people created for us, right? That's why everybody has unique personalities and characteristics. You will be aligned with people that fit inside your box. But you have to align yourself with yourself. You gotta get yourself together so that you can be beneficial to yourself and to others. We receive the energy that we need, but also we can block the energy that we need by putting off negative energy. When we don't love ourselves and we don't accept ourselves, it's telling God and the universe that we are not appreciative of what was created. And this definitely takes some time, building confidence and self-esteem. What I don't do much anymore, I don't look at social media. Social media is the worst thing, especially if you're struggling with self-confidence and self-esteem issues, to watch, because it creates realities that we think that we need to live in. So we start feeling negative about ourselves. So you got to create an environment which you can thrive in. And again, sometimes it takes removal of things, people, and places in order to get you to the space that you need to be in. Don't let your life be lived in vain. Don't let your life continue to go on and you not knowing who you are. Because we all were created uniquely. We were all created for purpose, and we're all worthy and valuable, and we all deserve to be happy, and we all deserve to live in a reality in which we want to live in. And the reality that we know was we create our reality, but the reality that was given to us. You can't please everybody. Everybody is not going to accept you for who you are, and that is okay, because that's why there's so many different types of people. Find the people that accept you and love you for who you are and rock it out with them. If someone can accept you for who you truly are, and they try to get you to become who they need to be from themselves, then they don't really love you to begin with. So remember that. So we gotta need to make changes. We gotta remove negativity for our lives. Let's see what else we got. So we have to start seeing ourselves for who we truly are. I urge people to do meditation. Meditation gets your mind in a space to think clearly and to see things for what they really are and see yourself for who you really are. And it's scary. You may cry, and it's important to get rid of all of that negative those negative feelings that you feel about yourself. Write. When I'm stressed, I bake and I cook. I like to exercise. So it's important that you get yourself on track and find things that start to make you happy. Listen, music is a good healing tool. This journey is going to require for you to go at it every day. You have to fight for yourself every day. Even on those days where you feel like giving up, you still have to fight. Even if you have to crawl, I urge you to keep fighting for yourself, because you deserve to experience what it truly means to live. I don't know that yet, and I'm searching for it, and I'm working towards it. And this journey has not been easy. It's actually been a lot of hard work, but I know as long as I have breath, then I have purpose. And if I have purpose, then I got to continue on my journey. And those negative insecurities that I have about myself eventually will go away in time when I learn the lesson that I need to be learned. But you can't give up on yourself either going through those lessons. Just take it for what has come, but don't keep allowing people to take from you and they're not depositing what you need. A lot of people they have these wants, but they're so slow to give out what is needed. Take each day as it comes. Make a plan for yourself. Where you want to see yourself, where you want to see your life. Stop comparing yourself to others. Again, we're created uniquely. We're all beautiful and handsome in our own way, right? The right people will come into our life to show us who we really are. And sometimes people come into our life to show us who we are. And maybe that version of who they see is not who we are, because we've been hiding, right? I've been in relationships where I wasn't enough, so I couldn't be my full self. So let's stop wasting time with people that don't think we are enough how we are. You deserve it. You deserve peace and joy. You deserve to know that who you are right now is enough. And then if you want to improve yourself, that's the best thing. But don't allow other people's negativity and opinions and thought process affect how you feel about yourself. We got to start loving on ourselves more, because the more that we love on ourselves, that energy will spew out and then we'll receive it back. But if it starts with us, our cells in our body listen to how we think, so they will respond. And the reason why we get sick and headaches and migraines and body aches and pains is because we're not being kind to ourselves. Every day, do something that makes you happy, even if it is for a moment. You deserve to smile sometimes. You deserve a chance to live. So let's start living each day. One little baby step by baby step. Eventually, we'll run across that finish line. Do self-care. Be kind. You are worth it, and you're uniquely made. And self-care can be meditation, taking a bath, taking a walk, exercising, feeding your body the right things, right? Sometimes what we eat affects how we feel. Like, I've gained some weight, and I know it's partly my fault. Some of it is due to stress. And so instead of negatively talking about my body, okay, this is what I got to do in order to fix it. And eventually it'll come on. So that's what I have for you today. I just wanted to get on here and tell people and remind them that you are amazing how you are, and we got to stop allowing people to take from us or to feed us these thoughts that we are not good enough how we are, or that living in a reality which they want to create for us because it makes them feel better. We can't live life and how someone else sees us. If they want that reality, then they need to create it for themselves. But they can't create the reality we want to live in their reality, because then it's not It's not honest and it's not truthful. And what happens over time is going to be conflict, because that's not who you are. If you're not living a life in who you are, you're going to be in constant conflict with yourself and others, because you're going to always be bumping heads. Create the reality in which you want to live in and start living each day. And if this means that you have to say goodbye to some things, some people, some places, then start your journey towards self-discovery so you get a chance to live and to enjoy the life that was given to us. Because every day that we live is a gift from above. And so we must utilize it accordingly. So today, do something for yourself that'll lift up your spirits. And knowing that how you look is okay. If you want to improve it, do it on your own pace. How you behave, your characteristics, how you speak, it's okay. The right people will find you funny. The right people will want to be surrounded by you. Don't allow someone else to create a reality because you failed to create your own reality for yourself. And that's all I have for you. Till next time, fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you.